Blessings, everyone. Okay, I really just want to start by saying I apologize for saying that I would have the video up yesterday. Again, that's putting the cart in front of the horse there, and I will not do that again. I don't know what I'm going to do from one minute to the next. I really don't. I'm going through some things outside of the box here, and it's life-changing for my daughter, and it's demanding on me to be present 100% with her. So, again, I'm asking for some patience and understanding in that area. But I do apologize for not having it out, and I will not be doing that again, saying I'm going to have it out there the next following day. No, I don't know what's going to happen. So again, I apologize. Now, here I just wanted to show you that this is the video that is fully loaded here that I have been brought back to. And it was because of a correction that was made to Soap Ministry. And going back into this video and being forced actually to listen to the whole thing is when everything just exploded in front of me, and I started to see a lot of things that needed to be said and brought to your attention. And a lot of the stuff that he talks about at the very beginning and talking about the eye and the healing, all of this is what I was working on prior to the correction to Soap Ministry. And this has just been pouring in ever since. So again, I'd like to stop and try to just really calm myself down a little bit here, because there's a lot here and I don't want to miss anything, you know. So there was more to the sign than I thought. I found this yesterday, you know, struggling to get that video out. I was still receiving information, and I was just shaking my head, and I couldn't follow through with bringing up the video without actually owning it first and understanding what it was that I was looking at. And so here we have, again, we have the trickery of the mind. You know, what you say and do is two different things. What you think you will not say, that sort of thing. Okay, no more than what he's doing here with the hand and preaching at the same time of God's word, or supposedly not our God. I don't believe he talks of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so here there's the sign, right? And I showed that to you here. It's a little slow, but here we had the satanic salute, and this is what I was really anxious about when I put out that video, was because the connection here with the football and the teams and how they used this hand sign for football, okay, and surfers representing the waters. So then again, I also noticed that we had the Führer here, which is showing some kind of respect to Hitler, okay, and then we have the horns and the two above. So at the two above, I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't holding on to understanding this part of it, other than to say the Führer, that this, whatever it was, or who was doing this, was in respect to Hitler. And then we had the football teams again, and then that just shot me straight back to FC Football Frankfurt, okay, Germany. And again, who planted that seed? Who planted that thought? Was Jonathan Kleck himself. He's the one that put his phone out there, showed you as a child that he was born in Germany and this is where he was from. He's the one that planted that seed in hoping that somebody would pick it up, or within spirit, without him realizing that this was happening. But I have a good idea that he knew what he was doing when he did it. So here he has you, you know, knowing that he's from Frankfurt, and he's talking about the river and coming over to the one side of the river. Well, when you're talking about Frankfurt in Germany, what we're talking about here is World War II. We're talking about a lot of blood. We're talking about 2008, where they took a scroll, a brand new scroll, and it was the first celebration since the Holocaust itself. And they took this scroll into a spot right where the synagogue stood prior to the war. Okay, so this was a synagogue, and I call this the synagogue of Satan. Now, you hear Kleck, he'll tell you that 500 means in scripture the Antichrist, where it'll tell you 500 meters from Poland. There was a lot of bloodshed here. You had the Olympics on German soil. the Olympics in 1972, and there was 11 Israelis, young men, that died. The blood was shed before the games, and the games went on. So here was blood worship over all of the games. Now he's the one that said Frankfurt. He's the one that said, hey, this is where I'm from, and hoping that somebody would have picked it up. Well, I picked it up. I picked it up. Okay, so again, we had the Holocaust, 2008. This was all about the Beijing Olympics. The saluting the flag. Only the children saluted the flag. And why does Jonathan Kleck have a picture of him when he was a young boy? And to show you that picture of him in his youth. So then there's this here. This is what I found yesterday. I went to just, show you the connection again with the games, the Olympics, the football, baseball, basketball. And this is what popped up. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's the same sign. And then I looked, and there it was, horned God. So when they use the right hand, this is what it means, horned God. And if they use their left hand, then what it means is the crescent-crowned goddess. So there was meaning behind using both hands, and this is what it was, I guess, right? Okay.
Well, I woke up and the TV was on because I was watching Men in Black, but it was a totally different show, and I'm going to show you exactly what came on when I woke up. I went and got this off like on demand, because it's part of the on demand thing, but this is what was on. Just watch. So this kid walks up to this chest that got opened, and they're talking about these hidden scrolls, and some little creature jumps in and then throws out a scroll. Watch. There you go. So, throws out the scroll, and this guy hands this girl the scroll, and she unrolls the scroll. Okay, now I'm going to pause it there. Okay, so now let me just change this again. So imagine if you were me. Just please try and, you know what the word empathy means? Try and empathize with me. Okay, so, and you're trying to convey to everybody, look, the Lord conveyed to me the scroll is open, and he gave me a couple scriptures to drop on you guys, which I'm going to do. When Tim shows up, and these are the facts surrounding his arrival and everything, and then I post a video that says the scroll is unrolled, and then I'm standing here praying, hey, Lord, what do you want me to do now? And he says, open this book on the table, and I open it up, and it says, open, 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 unlock, open, open, open. And then I go lay down, and I fall asleep, and I wake up 5 hours later. By the way, I woke up at 12:30 a.m. I laid down at 6:30, and I woke up at 12:30 a.m. to that TV with a scroll rolling out of a chest and someone opening a scroll. Open the scroll. And I'm like, ah! And of course, for me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my head is spinning. And then I'm thinking, well, what do I give them? All the scriptures? How do I give them everything I know? It's overwhelming. They won't.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm breaking away from this because there's other things that I need to discuss here. So I just brought that in because I just found this video. I just found it, and here he was speaking of the scroll, right? So again, it just brings me right back to FC Frankfurt, and how this all came about was, again, it was him, Jonathan Kleck, who brought this all about. Yeah, okay. So let's move on here, okay? Now,
there's Johnny that's my graduation in Germany. Just so you know, I'm telling you the truth.
Okay, well, to my surprise, I cannot find this anywhere. They have taken this right out, the whole paragraph. So I'm just going to read it here. It says FC Frankfurt is the town's local football team. Now, this is just prior to the Olympics of 2008. Okay, so they did this ceremony first. And in March 2008, this is really hard to read here, the Jewish community of Frankfurt celebrated its first Torah declaration since the Holocaust. So, okay. The procession of the new Torah scroll began from the spot where the town's Frankfurt synagogue stood prior to World War II, 500 meters from Germany's current border with Poland. Now this is taken right out. Interesting. Frankfurt order here. So this is what I found. This is the first thing I find. FC Frankfurt is what I found. See? Well, first, I think it's important. So I go straight up to the top and show you this. All right, and then I work my way back down. So this is what I found. This is the first thing I find. FC Frankfurt is the town's local football team. Right? Who would even think anything of this, right? You would bypass this no problem. Interesting, right? For me, because I just went through the Olympics, remember? And I said, you know, the Olympics, I said when I first watched it, it was the Navy SEALs, and they open it up with the waters, okay? And then they go to the young girl in the red, and okay, I'm just gonna let that go. So again, so this is new. I just found that out. I tried to go there, and I cannot find it. This is what they're giving me. I don't know where I would look this up. I did Wikipedia. You could see this here, right? So I go there, and it's not giving me the order. So hold on. Okay, so I go to FC Frankfurt order, and I'm not sure where to click. I'm just doing it random here. See, this is not it. Okay, so they had taken the whole thing out. This is what they did with it. Okay. Okay then. So somebody's definitely paying attention. So okay, so now 2008, we got the Olympics, you know, the scroll, the games, the Olympic games, ball games, all of it, the ritual, it's full blown, right? So I wanted to you know, show what it was like and what it looked like. The Aztecs when they played the baseball, I think it's no basketball, and what it looked like. So I went and I looked for the video that I already had used because I thought it was, you know, pretty well, it was well done. And this video was called The Mayan Revelations, Decoding Bactun, okay, and then it's Aztec Documentary Timeline. Well, this is what I went back for, right, to show you a few clips from this video. And I was there July 31st, June 14th, and June 10th, right? So then when I clicked on it, oops, what am I doing? When I clicked, this is what I got. Well, anyway, I'm freezing here. I don't know what's going on. It's not receiving, but here's the name of the channel here now. They changed the name, and it's why didn't the world end in 2012? Mayan Revelations Decoding Baektuan, timeline. Now, this is the same video, but just a different title, and they also switched this around where it would say World History Documentaries Timeline, okay? I can bring you to, let me see here.
And that is exactly what I did. The Mayans used a mathematical system that was common to all Mesoamerica. This territory inhabited by the Olmecs since 2500 BC. The Olmecs are also known as the Mother Culture.
The Mother Culture.
The Olmecs give rise to social structure
Mother
in
Goddess.
that entire region. This stone writing is of a ball game. It also contains their calendar system.
Okay, so this is why I went back and then I found that it was a completely different name, and they kind of played around with the channel name. Okay. Anyway, now here we have, the basketball, right? And, bounced off the wall and try to get it in. Now we just turn that around, add a net, and we have basketball. We have the calendar. We have the math. Everything is there. Everything is Aztec, okay? Now, I remember when a Sister Marie had brought some information to me about a 3 logos that came into, that looked like they were 3 in 1, and that was the Tesla, Team Black Sheep, and Kobe Bryant. Now, I'm not going to get into that too much. I'm not going to show you and go back to the pictures and that sort of thing. I'll just leave that up to you, whether you decide whether, you can see the same thing. But Sister Marie had me look towards the sports. And I only looked at Kobe Bryant. I didn't really look at the basketball at that point, but I did look into the chef. Now here's where everything is now starting to come together. Because the chef is what it is it's a fatty tissue that wraps around the nervous cells, your nerve cells, right? The nervous system, and it gives an electric impulse to the nerves. Okay, so this is very important of what this means and what it stands for, because this affects your mind. This will affect, I'm just going to actually read a little note that I put out here. If I can find it here. I just thought of it now that I had it. Okay. So the chef covering is, it's like a liquid, it's a fatty substance that surrounds the nerve cell auxins, the nervous system, okay, to insulate them and increase the rate of which electrical impulses are passed along the auxin. Now that's the chef. This is connected to Kobe Bryant. Again, the game, the worshiping of, the blood worship, whatever. It's basketball. This is where we're getting that from. Okay, so here you have, again, the Mayans, the ancient games, ball games. Okay, now the football, well, that goes right along with the bell. The football, when they're playing their games, every third down, they will ring the bell, and they call it hell's bells, right? And they wait 10 seconds for silence or something to do with silence, right? So the football, of course, the stadium itself is a large area for worship. The same thing that happened at the Olympics in 1972, when this whole area was just made for the Olympics, is now a worship area where people can go and worship and they could do their rituals. And this would be the spot where, the blood was shed, the innocent blood on, opening up the ceremonies to these games. So we clearly have that here. All we did is just turn that around and added a net to this. Again, this was the original title. I took pictures of it. Yeah. I brought it up in my history and I took, I snapped a shot of it. Okay, so now let's stay focused here. 1 minute. Okay, forgot. So before I go any further, there's a few more things I think that it was really important here for the read concerning the neuron, the cells. Now this is gray matter, which contains most of the brain's neutral cell bodies. The gray matter includes regions of the brain including in muscle control and sensory perception, such as seeing and hearing, memory, emotions, speech, decision making, and have control and self-control. These cells are responsible for movement of muscle and self-control and movement of muscle, Now the white matter is composed of the bundles which connect various gray matter areas, the locations of nerve cell bodies, at the brain to each other, of the brain to each other, and carry nerve impulses between the neurons. Myelin act as an insulator which allows electrical signals to jump rather than coursing through the axon, increasing the speed of the transmission of all nerve signals. White matter is the tissue through which messages pass between different areas of the gray matter within the central nervous system. Oh, sorry about that. So that, again, that's all Kobe. That's what we get from the chef. And these are the things that, goes with it. Now here we have, again, I couldn't help but think of F.C. Franklin, the town, F.C. Franklin, the tree of knowledge, 30, okay? Curry, basketball, right? Okay, so now here we have the bay, the number 30. This is Curry, right? Number 30. And then what do we have here? Is that a dragon? There is a connection to China, right? The dragon, the bay, 30, death. Here, again, I wanted to show you this. This is, again, we have 30 in Chinese, the bridge, we have the number, and I don't believe that's water. I just believe that that's, the virus of some sort, and then we can see what this is encased in, okay? But here we have, again, 30 and in Chinese, again, relating to basketball. Again, Curry, 30, Chinese heritage, the Bay, Stephen Curry, number 30, City edition. Again, let's bring this up a bit. I'm having a problem. Everything's so slow with this. Okay, the Bay, again, 30, and then here we have the circle within the circle, which is encased here. So again, basketball. Chinese heritage. Like seriously, this brings me back to Beijing 2008 and what's happening here with the games, going back to the Aztecs, going back to the Mayans, which are two different people, two different tribal people. They're not the same. Very similar, yes, but not the same. The sun calendar, the sunstone, which Jonathan Kleck teaches off of, that is, again, that's just the balancing of the gods. It's the calendar for the gods, you know. And it was when I was looking at basketball, I'm thinking, hey, this has everything to do with the mask. I was researching and going into and studying the meaning of masks and shape-shifting and this sort of thing, and all of a sudden that we've got masks now. Like my mother, I believe, died prematurely because she was wearing the mask. Not, because of the virus itself, but because she was wearing it, and it was, anyway. But it was about the mask. It was about worship. It was about the blue mist in the air, that I caught on film. The worshiping, all of it. I got a lot from the basketball as far as that goes. This was the virus. This was the connection here to China. Okay, and the last here is what I'm going to talk about with sports is basketball. Or baseball, sorry. And baseball, I believe it is the 5G. I did one not too long ago showing a man playing on the field. There was three of them, and one was running, and then he disappears, and then he comes back again. I mean, you actually see this. This reminds me, this looks like to me 5G. So here we have 5G, and again, it's having to do with baseball. Okay, so let me just do this really quick. Okay, so there's your 5G and baseball. And I just need to remind you, like even 5G, it's the way I look at 5G is, being in a microwave, being cooked from the inside out, because you don't see it, right? It's very deceiving. You can't see it. That person will look perfectly healthy, but they're not. This is 5G. Okay, so again, I want to just real quickly talk about the Sunflower War, and this is an Aztec ritual, and this again has everything to do with ceremonies, rituals, blood worship, and it's got to do with ball games. Okay, and well, not so much ball games, but let me just read this out to you. Sunflower War, the Aztec thought those who died in the flower war would be transported to heaven, where the supreme god of sun, fire, and war lived. Sacrifices was common theme in the Aztec culture legend of the fire sun. All the gods sacrificed themselves so that mankind could live. Now the sunflower, how they did this war, because I mean, if they were to continue doing what they did, the population would not have grown. And so here they say that what they would do is they would organize their wars. And the Sunflower War, it says here, human sacrifice rituals were performed at an appropriate time each month with the appropriate number of living bodies and other goods. These individuals were previously chosen to be sacrificed. The Sunflower War. And what do we have here? We have the sunflower here, and the casualties of war in the middle of that sunflower. And what does it say? I can't breathe. Oh, it says here I can breathe now. I can breathe now, it says. Charge all. Sunflower War. Balancing of the Gods. The Sunstone. The Aztec Calendar.
Word. I'm talking about television here. What has the greatest impact on audience? Is it TV program? Is television best when it covers an event like a space shot or the Olympics or a baseball game? Is it best when it tries to entertain with movies at night? When it tries to inform with news programs that have filmed things that have already happened?
The advantage of coverage of sports events is they are ritualistic. The group gathered there is participating in a ritual. Now, the Olympics were even more a group ritual than the ordinary competitive event in a ball game or a single ball game, a single event, because they had a corporate meaning. It was not just a local, it was a sort of a worldwide meaning. And this is itself a ritualistic participation in a large process. Television fosters and favors a world of corporate participation in ritualistic programming. It's not really, that's what I mean when I say it's a cool medium. It's not a hot medium. A hot medium can, like a newspaper, can cover single events, very high intensity. TV is not good at covering single events. It needs a ritual, a rhythm, and a pattern. And that's why better
Sorry about that.
advertising on TV, you see, is too hot, too special, too fragmentary. Doesn't have that ritualistic flow. But the advertisers are aware of this, and they're doing a lot to correct that. But I think that was the great secret of a thing like the Olympics. People had the feeling of participating as a group in a great, meaningful ritual. And it didn't much matter who won. That wasn't the point. But I think TV tends to foster that type of pattern in events. Well, you might say it tends to foster patterns rather than events.
Not basic television programs.
Well, one of the effects of television is to remove people's private identity.
We're just talking about basic television programs.
Well, one of the effects of television is to remove people's private identity. They become corporate, peer group people just by watching it. They lose interest in being individual, private individuals. And so this is one of the hidden and perhaps insidious effects of television.
Have you watched enough of Jimmy Carter during all the primaries to figure out why he has...
Okay.
All is changed.
And changed because of television, because
Very much. Television gave the old electric circuitry that is already here, gave it a huge extra push in this direction of involvement and inwardness. You see, the circuit doesn't just simply push things out for inspection. It pushes you in to the circuit. It involves you. When you put a new medium into a play in a given population, all their sensory life shifts a bit. Sometimes shifts a lot. This changes their outlook, their attitudes, changes their feelings about studies, about school, about politics. Since TV, both Canadian and British and American politics have cooled off almost to the point of rigor mortis. Our politics require much more hotting up than the TV medium will give them. A TV is going to leave it alone for a while. Just let go. Just leave it now.
But they're not going to, are they?
No. So the only alternative is to understand everything that's going on and then neutralize it as much as possible, turn off as many buttons as you can, and frustrate them as much as you can. As much as possible, turn off as many buttons as you can, and frustrate them as much as you can.
Okay, so this was in 1966. That's the interview, 1966. Now, I just met him just a few days ago, actually, and I just kind of shook my head when I heard what you heard here. So his name is Marshall McLuhan. He's Canadian. He's a a university professor in English, and I thought he was quite interesting to hear. So I just wanted to give that to you also. Now I'm running out of time, so what I'm going to do is I'd like to read this. Oh boy. Now therefore fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. Lead me in thy truth, and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth unto such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. O send out thy light and thy truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me unto the holy hill and to thy tabernacles. Now the Lord of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that ye may abound in hope through the power of the Holy Ghost. Amen. No fear, be love, and give hope. This is going to be a little series. So again, I really do apologize for saying that I would put out the video the next day, but again, that's putting the cart in front of the horse, and I don't know what I'm doing from 1 minute to the next. And so I promise I can't promise anything, but I will avoid that as best as I can. So I do apologize for that. All right. So until next time, God willing, it won't be as long. And yeah, no fear, be love, and give hope. I'll leave everything that I put in this video in the description box. Stay in his peace. God bless you all.